And welcome to STL Sports Page. Our continuing baseball coverage now brings us to Normal, Illinois. The Corn Belters with the Hot Stove League Banquet. Featured speaker Lee Smith, former Cardinal, former Cub. Lee, thanks for joining us.
Hey, my pleasure, man. Anytime I can get back in this area, in Cardinal country, I'm in heaven.
Well, I was going to ask you, you obviously pitched for the Cubs longer than you pitched for the Cardinals. More people still recognize you and remember those years than they do the St. Louis years?
All in fun, too, man. You think about a rivalry, that things of that nature. But, with the Cub-Cardinal thing has always been like fun. You see families, the wife is a Cub fan, the husband's a Cardinal. But it's just all in fun, I think.
People have always said that if the Cubs and Cardinals ever meet in the playoffs, it would be divorce city, disaster, that kind of stuff. It hasn't ever happened, but this year with all the moves the Cubs have made, it's more closer to reality than it's ever been before.
Hey, I want to tell you, the Cubs look really good, man. I was in the Cub convention, and I saw the guys. They got a lot of young kids, man. They don't look like they're voting yet, but they're good athletes, So hopefully they can keep that healthy, atmosphere going there in Chicago. They're doing a lot of things at the ballpark too.
What is your favorite memory of all the years you spent in St. Louis?
Oh, man, I don't know where to start, man. I finally got there with the manager, Mr. Joe Torre, at the time. Whitey was there for a little bit, but Joe, I played for him a lot longer, man. And it's just that the knowledgeable fans, the Cardinal fans, you meet like a young lady you think have no idea about baseball. She's sort of rattling off stats and everything like that. Now the Cardinals are going to win the World Series, and it just that atmosphere that you hear around that ballpark all the time is unbelievable.
And, of course, your name comes up every January. The Hall of Fame vote comes along. You, unfortunately, have not got enough of my colleagues to go along and vote for you yet. I do every year. But does that process bother you? What do you think of that whole process?
It's a little frustrating sometimes, because, you look at, maybe 5-6 years ago, some of the guys that went into the Hall of Fame, that I was ahead of them in voting for some, for years and things like that. But, I'm still hopeful, and I think it shouldn't matter. Stats ain't getting any better, So hopefully, before the Veterans Committee and things of that nature, but just to be on the ballot, man. I mean, for where I came from a very small town, man. I never thought I would play in 400 games, let alone say 400, So the one thing is really good to be put noted, in those that same breath of the Babe Ruth guys in the Hall of Fame is really good.
It seems like relief pitchers, closers, just don't get the credit that they deserve, and especially in your era where now you guys get a save, for coming in. And that's got to bother you a little bit, too, because of the fact that you got all those saves doing it much harder. You and Bruce Sutter really doing it much harder than the guys that do it today to collect all those saves.
I tell you, man, you even go back to Goose. Goose actually, and Raleigh knows guys. We pitched like tied games. We pitched 2 or 3 innings in tied games, and now the guys won't even go down to the bullpen. The game is tied, But, it's just one of those things I think that they think the team is the closer is going to be a lot fresher by not pitching that many innings. But I want to throw, because I always had that mindset of a starting pitcher, and I want to go out there and stay in the game to be there for the ball team, But now, I just hope they'll look at those stats, that the guys what we've done, myself and you can't even put Dennis Eckersley in that category because he was a great starter, So and I think that would help John Smoltz a little bit too, with what he did as a starting pitcher, and then he fell back on the relieving. But I tell you what, hopefully in the next couple of years they'll figure out something for me.
I was going to say, maybe you'll get a little more attention in the next 2 years when Trevor Hoffman goes eligible next year, and, of course, the guy that broke your record, and then Mariano Rivera, who broke Trevor Hoffman's record. So maybe that'll get the relief pitchers back in the focus a little bit.
Well, what I'm really going to be interesting to see about next year. Hopefully things going to look more toward relievers, and hopefully I get an opportunity next year.
When you're not coming up here to speak, what keeps Lee Smith busy these days?
Oh, man, I've been working for the San Francisco Giants for the last 16 years. I'm doing our minor league and roving and pitching, and we have some really great prospects, man. And hopefully you'll see them in the next few years. But our big league club is really young, too, so, it might be something that we have to do, find places for those guys. But we got really a ton of pitching.
Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the speech tonight. Rob Drains reporting here from Normal, Illinois. It's out of the Normal Corn Belters Banquet for the STLSportsPage.com.